Hello everyone, Russ of Aquarius here. Got some little geckos. I've got a whole bunch of little geckos in here. I don't know how many you can see. It's kind of like Where's Waldo. There's a ton of them up here. Up at the top, I'm going to feed them live. Someone was asking about morning geckos last time. We didn't get to it because logistically it was just going to be complicated to do so. So this time we're going to do it. There are approximately 15 baby morning geckos in here. Hello, Captain Obvious. Hello, Damien. Greetings. Hello, Salvo. Pet Paradise. Welcome. Hello, Luna. Eve, 81. Hello. And here we go. I've had a little bit of dieback lately with the Ficus pumila. Sometimes it happens when I'm catching isopods, and I'm not catching isopods, but catching baby geckos, and I have to detach it from the cork bark. But it'll grow back. It always does. I think I might actually revitalize the substrate a little bit with some fertilizer too. I'm getting some coming in pretty soon. Some fertilizer coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and dump these in. Sandy, greetings. Big Gray Ape, Dragon Udo, Kaylin. Oh, are we getting the feedback buzz again? That's annoying. Let me see if I can do something about it. I'm going to put these flies in here and close up shop, so to speak, for a second. Let me see if I can do anything about the buzz. Let me see. Let me know if that's any better on the buzz. There is a timer going on. Oh, I see the geckos starting to go for the flies. Here we go. A whole bunch of them coming down. There are a couple in here that hatched recently within the past few weeks, and then there are some that are a couple months old. I don't really encounter any problems. See the one on the top left of the screen? That one's a pretty recent one. And then these three that are coming down towards the flies are much older. They're probably 6 weeks to 2 months old, something like that. Yes, it is kind of like Jurassic Park. It's going to come in a second. They have camouflage! Which they do, of course. They're pretty cryptic geckos in the wild. They're really good at hiding. Oh, there's one of our first catches there. Sweet deal. And I see some more coming down. Okay, good. Thank you, Kaylin, for letting me know. I think I just had the microphone in the jack a little bit loose, so that helped. I'm glad you brought that up. Can improve the quality of the live stream for everyone. So like I said, I think I have about 15 in here. Not sure exactly at this point, because some of them hatched recently, and I sold some not too long ago. And Salvo, I agree, they do look a little bit like velociraptors, and they certainly hunt like them. It's fun to watch them hunt. Dragon Udo, these guys can live. I know that there was someone who had one that was 17 years old. They can live a long time. That for pretty small geckos, they have pretty long lifespans. Let's see if I can get a focus on these guys or gals as they're hunting. Oh, here's one on the glass. That's kind of fun. So anoles, definitely, they have a very raptor-like snout. I totally get that. And Big Gray Ape, how often do these guys lay eggs? They, once they're adults, around 6 to 8 months, somewhere in there is when they start laying eggs. And they will lay eggs approximately every month. They do skip a month here and there. I noticed that if they're going to skip a month, it's most often during the warmest part of the year and during the coolest part of the year. So they might skip in July or August maybe. Usually not any more than that in the summer. They're usually pretty good in the summer and the spring and the fall. And then maybe in January or something like that, they slow down again. So, and 401 movies. There are approximately 15 in this tank. This is just my hatchling tank. There's a ton of them up here hanging out in the leaves and stuff. And of course, we've got a good number of them here hunting too. It's always fun to watch them. Oh, she grabbed a piece of Excelsior. So it is a parthenogenetic species. As far as I know, none of the very rare males that have ever shown up ever actually successfully breed with the females. Females will mate with each other, which seems to encourage breeding, but it's not actually necessary. They will breed anyway. They'll produce eggs anyway. But they will do pseudocopulation, they call it, which seems to encourage them to breed, but they don't need males for reproduction. That little hatchling just sitting there. He's not doing a whole lot. Sitting there in the leaves. These other guys, gals, I should say gals, because they're all female, of course, doing their thing, hunting. And they do produce clones of themselves. Some kinds of parthenogenesis don't produce clones, but this one does. They produce little clones, and in fact, the different lineages of mourning geckos are called clones because they're descended from different hybridization events. It's probably kind of fun. So the feedback is coming and going. I wish I knew what was going on there. Oh, nice catch, little one. Here comes one. I'll have to watch them just go all through the ficus plant. And Wally. Wally's in the house. Nice to see you. Always nice to have Wally in. Big gray ape, what size enclosure? This is, because it's so small, because it's for hatchlings, this is only an 8 by 8 by 12. So it's not very big, but it works out great for the little hatchlings, and then the adults go into 12 by 12 by 18. Actually, I have two 12 by 12 by 18s I use for the adults. And these are inches, of course. I should have specified that. Dragon Udo. So I would have assumed people use these as feeders. I've heard of some people using them as feeders. I don't personally use them that way. I remember somebody said they had some smooth green snakes, and they used them for feeders. They kept the adults with the green snakes. The green snakes didn't eat the adults, but they'd eat the hatchlings. So I guess it does happen. And Heather Jensen, thank you. A like spike is always good. And Jordan Savala with a $20 super chat. Hello, Russ and stream. Thank you, Russ. Well, thank you, Jordan. Really appreciate it. $20 super chat. I'm always most appreciative of that. That's awesome. That is great. So thanks for joining in, Jordan, and thanks for keeping the 12 by 12 by 18. I've kept up to 5. I would unhesitatingly keep up to 6 in there, just because they're small geckos, and not only that, but they're utilizing all the glass. They utilize the ceiling, so there's a lot more space in there. As long as you're putting plenty of hides and things like that in there, I think it's fine to have at least 6 in a tank of that size. So there you go. So Captain Obvious has seen them. People use them as feeders for lizard-eating fish. Wow, there's a niche for you, a fish that specializes in lizards. But I don't doubt it. It makes sense. I mean, it's hard to get a more prolific little gecko. But I don't think I could personally do that. But not judging either. So I'm trying to move the chat and up and down. It's making me move the camera instead. This is weird. Why is it doing that? Sorry, folks. Wow, it's really not listening to my fingers very well. I'm going to try again. Now it's working. So, and Salvo, you're right. The pseudocopulation does seem to help induce ovulation. Not that it won't happen without it, but it does seem to induce it. So, Supreme Gecko, your method of covering the holes in the exoterior is great. Can you explain again? Sure. That's an awesome question. And this is what I do to cover up the holes in the back of the exoterra, which are the ones that are really useful if you want to introduce a cord or something like that into the inside of the exoterra. They're great to have, but if you don't want anything escaping, you need to plug them up, and that's especially important with things with little geckos like this. And I don't have any cords running into the vivarium. Let me show you up here in the corner. I don't know if you can see, but at the bottom, in the top right corner, you can see some remnants of eggs from when adults had laid eggs in here, and you can see maybe the little areas where the cords come through. And there's some silicone up there. But what I do is on the outside of it, I jam wet paper towels into the little holes. And then once the paper towel dries, it's quite strong and the geckos aren't able to push it out of the way. So that's what I would, that is my method that I've used. And I don't know, I read it somewhere years and years ago, so I'm not sure where I got it, but it's a great method and works really, really well for keeping the geckos in. And thank you, Jordan. Jordan, you just reminded me of something, because he is the first first Aquariumaxer to get this this t-shirt. Can I make it work? 10 reasons I love isopods, and I have the shirt on right now, so it's a little awkward. But you can see it's got the different species of isopods on it. Hopefully you don't mind me telling everyone that you were the first one to get one, Jordan, but this shirt is on a discount for a couple more days. The discount ends Friday. I think it ends at midnight on Friday. And so you can use the promo code Aquariumax. It's at the teespring.com Aquariumax store. You can get one of these t-shirts for $3 off. So if you're interested in getting one of these 10 Reasons I Love Isopod shirts that show up in my merch store on YouTube, so at the bottom of this video or next to the video, depending on which kind of device you're using, you can get one with the code Aquariumax in all caps, $3 off with that promo code. And Kaylin Ross is the $20 donation type thing. Newer to live chat. Ah, yes it is. Oh, it looks like Wally's answering. Newt's Commander, hello. Loved you in the movies, by the way. Is the $sign below where you had your comment. Thank you, Wally, for mentioning that. I appreciate that. Every little bit helps. Let's see, how many geckos does everybody see on the screen right now? I'm going to count how many I see and see if it's the same number. Okay, yep, I'm seeing 7 at the moment. So, Captain Obi's pretty close there. This one down here is one of them. And great, Jordan, thank you. I'm glad it came in, and I'd love it if you'd send a picture and I can post it to social media. That would be awesome. With your Aquariumax gear. Slav Pepe, welcome. And Breaker, will your Death Fainters drink from the sugar water vial things? I bought them off your link for future Velvet Ants and was curious. Good question. I don't think I've seen any of my beetles drinking out of it. I don't want to be, I may have, but I don't think I have. And if they do, they don't do it all that often. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen them drink from it. I don't think they can fit their mouth parts into the little wells. But good question. And Heather Jensen, have you ever used fern moss? I have some coming in the mail tomorrow and I'm super excited. I don't think I have. It sounds interesting though. And thank you, Slav Pepe. Yes, all the likes are very, very appreciated. Cardboard Bear, never heard of Mourning geckos before. These are great. These are great little geckos. They're not much for handling, so if you want handling, recommend something like a crested gecko or leopard gecko. There's some other options. But these guys are awesome. These gals are awesome for watching. They make great display animals in bioactive vivariums, and as you can see, they're not particularly shy. Once they get used to you, they're not particularly shy. They do start out shy, they tend to, but they warm up to you. Pretty cool. Some eggs in the house. Nice to see you here. Gonna zoom in a little bit if I can. Manually zoom, I guess. It's just kind of fun to see them close up and see their little patterns. So Wally's asking, do you make your own fruit fly culture material or do you purchase it? If you make it, what is your base ingredient? What do you use for a mold inhibitor? Good question. I have used a couple different brands of the commercial mix. I've used Josh's Frogs, I've used New England Herpeticulture, and I've used Rapashi's mix, but I generally make my own. And not because they aren't good, it's cheaper for me to make my own because I make enough fruit flies that I use it. I make enough of it that it's cost effective for me to make my own. I use potato flakes as the base ingredient, and then I add nutritional yeast and spirulina powder and green pea powder. And as the mold inhibitor, I use methylparaben. And you can buy a bag of that online. I think I bought my bag from Josh's Frogs the last time I bought it. I bought a couple bags from him, I think. Maybe, I'm not sure if it lasts forever because you don't need much of it. You put like a half of a teaspoon or a quarter of a teaspoon in each culture, and it works pretty well. So that's what I use, methylparaben from Josh's Frogs. Oh, cool. Well, Heather, I want to see this stuff. So if you can post it to the Facebook or post it to Instagram or something, that sounds pretty cool. The liverworts that you sent me are really doing well. Still, they're doing amazingly well. I'm excited about that. It's fun. I like to watch these little gals breathe. They just anything that they're doing is just kind of fascinating. I love their little eyes too. They have sort of metallic tones in their eyes. It's kind of fun. Is this a latecomer to the party in the back there? What's she doing? Hopefully she'll, it looks like she's going to hop onto the cork bark and have a snack. I think that's what she's thinking about doing. Nope, she's not. I think it's a great idea, Heather. You should start a channel for making the terraria. I think it's great. Oh, maybe she's going to come over onto the cork bark now. Let's see if she does. Oh, sorry, she wasn't in focus when that happened, was she? Oh, she is coming onto the cork bark. Maybe she's going to help mop up a few of those last flies. So there's a few still around. Trying to clean themselves off. Well, things are starting to slow down in here a little bit. The geckos are just have finished off most of the flies. So, any other requests? I'm kind of mobile. I'm not hooked up to a tripod today, so I can move around just a little bit more. If you have specific requests of things you'd like to see, it might be a bit wobbly, but we could do it. You know what? We can do millipedes, I think. Let's do some millipedes. And we can do some arachnids too, probably. Oh, let's go to the other room, shall we? So you get to see my ceiling and my pull-up bar. That's always fun. Okay, that's not what you came here for, though. Let's check out. We're gonna see some millipedes, right? Okay, let's pull out the ivories. Got some beetles. And here are some ivories. My lighting is not going to be terribly great because I didn't prepare for this. But let's just see what we got at the surface. Got some of the young ones at the surface right now. Looks like a young male right there. I think that they're both males, I think. Not sure about that one. Too curled up. I think that bigger one there is a female. Here's a larger male, an adult male, kicking around. I love how they're pretty surface active millipedes, so you're likely to find some at the surface at some point. I mean, at any given point, if you have enough of them, you're likely to see them. Let's see. Any tips for keeping vinegaroons? A deep substrate they can burrow in, and is one of the big ones. Something I've been playing with, someone told me that they were giving theirs water crystals, and I'm trying that out and see if they like it. I'm going to see if I can pull out a vinegaroon here, because that's one of the arachnids that people are asking about. Sorry, I have to set this down for a second. Just going to see stuff on the floor, not very exciting. Okay, for a second. But vinegaroons, a nice deep substrate they can burrow in and not collapse. So like something like cocoa fiber with sand. Here's a vinegaroon here. Look at this. This one decided not to hibernate. I'm not sure why. Mostly they hibernate, and the substrate's deep enough and damp enough to do so. It's a suitable substrate, but it's decided not to hibernate. I don't know why. And it's very fat, as you can see. I believe it is a female. Seems to be doing fine, but for some reason is not hibernating. It's really confusing how that works. Okay, and some death feigning beetles. Let's check it out. Okay, we got some requests for those. And the Spirostreptus. I actually have a lot of Spirostreptus. Sorry, I'm putting lids back on things. It's going to take me a second to figure that out. We'll do some death feigning beetles. They're active right now. And all these little things on the sand, those are dried carrots. I think my daughter overdid it on the carrots a little bit, but that's okay. I've been meaning to tell her that she doesn't have to put 17 in there. It's just a couple carrots is fine. Chop them up. She usually puts a lot in. You can see that right around the bug jelly, they've kind of got the sand all dirty. And there's one wandering about. This is the best time to death feigning beetles, in the evening. They're just everywhere. And you can see that it's not just death feigning beetles in here, of course. I've got the blue death feigning beetles. I think there are 5 adults in here. I've got the black death feigning beetles, also known as the smooth death feigning beetles. And then I've got some Eleotis beetles. This is a pinacate beetle here, pretty big. And then back in the background, there's another blue death feigner and another pinacate beetle of a different species. There's one of my velvet ants. I have 2 of them in here right now. I saw both of them. I actually see the abdomen of the other one. Oh, she's not in a position where you can really see her all that well. The other one, if you can see in that hole in the cork bark right in the middle of the screen, you can see a little orange patch. That's her abdomen. She's hanging out in there. It's one of her favorite spots to hang out. She's my shyest velvet ant I've ever had. And I love velvet ants. But that particular species seems to be pretty shy. And let's see. So yes, the blue death feigning beetles are a desert invert. They are native to my state, but I haven't seen any in the immediate vicinity. I can find the pinacate beetles in the immediate vicinity. They're within walking distance, literally, but I can't find these guys. Okay, now I want to... sorry, I'm just moving things around a little bit. There's the shrimp. A little hard to see them right now. You can see some of them on the glass. Let's take a look and see if we can find any Spirostreptus species 1, shall we? There's one. I recently put a whole bunch of leaf litter in here, so I'm going to be careful not to dig too much in the substrate because that's not safe for millipedes, especially when they're molting. But oh, looks like I just knocked one right off the branch there. Hopefully it's okay. Yeah, it looks like it's just a little bit upset that I did that. But I have, how many? I think I have about 7 of these guys. Looks like I caught them when they're all kind of not very active. Hopefully they'll wake up in a minute. That one's starting to wake up. As you can see, some of them are getting to pretty close to adult size, so hoping to see some babies pretty soon. And like I said, I have around a half a dozen of these. Pretty cool millipedes. I like them a lot. Let's see, just checking on the time here. I'm going to have to be, I got about 7 minutes or so. Let's see, I'm catching things up. Are blue desert beetles legal to bring over state lines? I don't think people get in trouble for selling blue death feigning beetles. I haven't officially looked up that particular beetle species for moving over state lines myself. I can, but I don't think people get in trouble for those. But that's a complicated issue. I guess you'd have to look that up to find out whether or not that's true. But Captain Obvious, do you know anything about Hercules beetles? Not a lot. I've read about them, but I don't have any like personal experience with them. HC Aqua, greetings. King Kuiken, hello. And they were taking a nap. Yeah, it looks like this one may still be taking a nap, and these two are wandering about. Carry Nature, hello. And, oh yes, HC Aqua, scientific name for grindle worms and whiteworms. Yeah, I can give you that. So, grindle worms are Enchytraeus bulkholtzii. I'm probably pronouncing that a little bit wrong, but you can look it up. It's like Bushholtzii, something like that. That's the grindle worm, and the white worm is Enchytraeus albidus. And that That should help you get going. Albidus is Albidus. And Heather Jensen. Yeah, I can catch stag beetles around here. At least when I was a kid, about an hour and a half from here, where I lived a couple of years there. There were stag beetles. My aunt just lived down the street from me. My aunt and uncle lived down the street from me, and they had this old stump, and there were stag beetles in it. So I can find stag beetles around here, but I haven't seen any for years. Sheena McGee, hello. And like Spike, yes, we almost got it. We're almost to 30, and we've got 5 more minutes or 4 more minutes. So wild ant in my room the other day. My corner is now getting the eastern light again. Not a species I keep though. Yep, I've seen a few ants around here as well, and that's always one of the earliest harbingers of spring. Let me see a few ants about. Early here since you're in Canada and you have snow. Yeah, we here too. We've had more snow this year than we have in a long time. Well, last year and this year, we're getting more than our average. Yeah, somehow the ants figure it out. They know that the days are getting longer. They seem to be some of the first ones to figure it out. So let's see. We've got some millipedes. What else should we look at that I have here I can easily grab in the next couple of minutes since we've got to go soon? These were from Wally, Supreme Gecko. These are Porcellio ornatus. This is a great species. The morph is yellow dot, and you've got several different morphs. Apparently this is one of the better morphs for activity. They're day active, and they're very, very prolific breeders. You can see a few little monkey running around. They're always breeding. I love this species, and it was really nice of Wally to send me these. All right. My spikes for my frog pupated, I look over to a container full of flies. Ah, yes, that's the reason why my wife doesn't want me to bring bluebottle spikes in the house, which is kind of sad, but because they're very useful for certain things. Sheena says, I'm trying to get my permits to sell my isopods locally in Virginia. If it's voided, my permit said they do not track intrastate movement of plant pests. Yeah, I think if you're selling them in-state, they don't care. That's my understanding. But sometimes it gets confusing. So, let's see. I have been working on my permits, and there are some things I'm still wondering, but I'm cleared in about, what is it? Something like 10 states to sell a dozen species of isopods, and I've got a whole bunch more permits coming. You know, they're still in the system. They should be coming through pretty soon. And let's see. So Carrie, a few more weeks and I'll be busy with queens coming out of diapause. Oh yeah. A lot of queen ants going to be around. Oh, I'm not sure risking putting roaches, millipedes, and beetles in my 60-gallon heavily planted vivarium or not. I'm not sure if they'll eat the plants. Yeah, good question. Probably depends on the species to a large extent and how much leaf litter and things like that are available. I think you'd be safe with some species of isopod in there and some species of millipede. I'm not sure about roaches. And you're right, Wally, you didn't give me this many yellow dots, but they started having babies very quickly, and they've been breeding very, very well. I think this is the most prolific Spanish Porcellio species I've ever worked with. And they're cool because they're big and they've got the little spots on them, if I can get them to focus. I love the little yellow dots that most of them have. I've seen a couple patternless ones in here, but most of them have the little yellow dots, which I really like. Give them that little splash of color. And let's see. All right. Okay, excellent. HC Aqua. Yep, you got it. That's awesome. And let's see. Punta Cana. I like those. They're pretty cool. They are really colorful and they're awesome. And you're welcome, Jordan, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. And I have got to go. I'm going to go to my daughter's dance thingy tonight, so I better head off. But it's been great. Thank you for joining in,